Hey everybody, it's Brick Waffle here, and today we are going to show you what I've been working on since the last time we all had an episode together. I have been recording a few of these a little bit in advance. I'll be honest, I was waiting for Warlords of Draenor to come out and World of Warcraft, for those of you who play that game. I knew it was going to take up a lot of my time, and I didn't want to miss an episode schedule for you, so I did a few of these back-to-back, released them a little bit at a time, and now I have made some progress since the last video, so I thought I would show you what I've done. So let's go ahead and head down one level in the basement, and the last time we were here, this was just being quarried out. You can see now we've put in a footprint of each of these buildings and a few covers and some glowstone strips so that we can see what each of these buildings are in the basement level. So each of the buildings has a slightly different purpose. Over here you can see that we have our laser crafting array. That's pretty exciting. We've got our crafting terminal. Every one of these buildings has an elevator, so you can come up here. We've moved everything over from old Bricktown into new Bricktown, and this is now our new home. Not all the buildings have anything in them yet. We've got plenty of room to grow in here. So you can see that some of these just have some lights, and that's really it. We've got our chunk loader here, and now instead of having chunk loaders all over the place, we just have this one here. It's set to 7 by 7. I am the admin on the server, so it's unlimited, but this is a nice way to have a single chunk loader that keeps the whole base loaded all the time. We've got our big capacitor bank here, and we've got our ME stuff set up over this way. We've got our wireless terminal now for the shared network. We also have a wireless terminal for our private network. And this all of this stuff is connected with some cables over to a couple of other places. So if we come over here, you can see our crafting array, our crafting computers. This is on the private Brick Waffle subnet. It's actually not really a subnet, it's just a separate network so that I can craft things without bothering everybody else. And then I believe it's, nope, it's not that one. I'm still learning my way around the new base. It's one of these buildings. This is the one. We've got a little bit of setup here. This QED is pretty straightforward. You can see what's going on here. The nice thing is this QED now has a hopper underneath it that goes into an ender chest. So anything we queue up in the QED, no pun intended, goes right into the network. These two things over here, this is a little bit interesting. So this interface is pulling in wither skeleton skulls and soul sand from the network. It's trying to keep 64 in here. And those are going into these chests. You can see we have quite a few wither skeleton skulls and no soul sand. So we're going to address that problem in a little bit, but I'm sure you figured out already what that means. So let's hop down here. You can see we have plenty of space left on this level and the one below it. And then down here we've started using some of this stuff. So we've got one of the spawn chambers set back up. This is with wither skeletons. It's a tier 5 wither skeleton spawner. It's working pretty darn well. You could probably tell by how many skulls we had, and this is the wither killer from Practicalities. So this little device here, it will fill up with wither skeleton skulls, fill up with soul sand, and it will just create a wither, kill it, extract a nether star, and that nether star gets put right back into the network in one of these chests as soon as there's room. So that actually might end up backing up because this chest is full of skulls. We need to get some soul sand in here, maybe pull a few skulls out of there just to be safe, and we should be good to go again. This contraption here is our cobble generator. So if you guys watch Hermitcraft, you saw Zoomovoid do something very similar to this. He put in some lava and some water, and he put in some transfer nodes with world interaction upgrades and speed upgrades and a stack upgrade. So these things are all generating stacks of cobblestone very quickly, going into this chest as fast as it can take it. Same thing with this one. These are compressed, double compressed, triple compressed, quadruple compressed, and then both of those are coming over here to be quintuple, sextuple, septuple, and octuple compressed. And you can see right now we don't have any septuple in there. We don't have any sextuple there. We have 4 quintuples, so it's working pretty well. If we want to take a look at exactly how many we've got so far, we can do this and search for octuple. And we've got 3 of these, and it's been running for just about 2 weeks. So it's not particularly fast, but 3 of those is, what, 27 bedrockium ingots. So that's a fair number of bedrockium drums, or whatever else we'd like to use that for. We could definitely expand this further. We could generate more of these earlier ones since we have more cobble than we can process. We could also use a couple of other different ways to do it. But right now I'm pretty happy with that steady trickle of octuple compressed. So one thing we are going to do is we're going to go to the nether and we're going to set up our digital miner to get more soul sand. And then I've got a couple of other ideas for projects, but while we're going over to the nether, I don't know why I had such a hard time saying that, I do want to talk to you guys about a couple of other things that I've got going on. Basically like Hermitcraft, Minecraft, any of those crowds you see on YouTube, I really enjoy watching those guys, and I think it'd be really fun to actually be part of a community like that. We were planning to start up a little bit of test recording, so one guy who has joined me so far is Ziatech, so shout out to him right now. We're going to try a little bit of mini games this weekend, so look forward to a recording and maybe a live stream if I can get that all set up right. I think this is going to be our best bet for soul sand in the area. We're going to do a little bit of that, so hopefully this weekend we'll get a bonus episode out there for you. You'll be able to see us playing some mini games, give us some feedback, see what you think, if this is going to work well or not. Oops, let's put that on here. Put that on there. And put you right here. Oops, right there. One chunk, that should be fine. And let's configure this guy. Yep, we want to pull out ores, quartz, and soul sand. We want to auto eject, and let's go ahead and do that. Okay, so now that we're getting more soul sand, that's fantastic. We're also getting a few ores into the network. That's also excellent, and that should keep our wither farm running. Yeah, so as far as joining the forums, awesome. I'd love to have you guys over there. Talk about Minecraft, talk about channels, just talk about anything you want, really. And if you are accepted on the whitelist, we only have a few slots, but we do want to get some more YouTubers on there just to give it a sense of community, let people see what's going on a very regular basis. With a regular full-time job, it is hard to keep up a pretty vigorous recording schedule, which is why I tend to only put up one video a week. But I thought if we had 3 or 4 or 5 people all doing YouTube channels together, then there'd be a lot better chance that you guys would be able to see new videos coming out more frequently than that. Okay, so enough rambling from me on that topic. Like I said, I'm done plugging the boards. We do have other projects to work on over here. One thing I want to do is make some use of this big space we have under the new brick town. And if you come back down here, you can see this area is pretty plain. We've got some cobblestone bricks foundations here, and we have a little bit of covers to kind of indicate which building that is. Obviously, we could do a lot with the floor, but one thing that we did do is this floor is only 1 block deep. So we can't do a whole lot without going through the ceiling. We could extend and make these floors a little bit thicker. We certainly could consider doing that. We could also decorate this by changing that, but whatever we change here right now, we'll change the ceiling of the room below us. And you can see this is pretty dark in here. There is a magnum torch at each level underneath these covers, and this water is just flowing down from the fountain in the middle of the village, so you can kind of see what's going on. You can also see where we have a few glowstone blocks from builds that are up there. You can see the elevators coming up from the previous level. But really, we need to light this up. We need to decorate it. It's just a big blank space right now that is basically a bat farm. Look at that. This was a lot worse in the beginning before we had any light. But you can see if we spend any length of time down here at all, we are going to generate a bunch of bats. So, if you guys have something you'd like to see us build over here, absolutely leave a comment for that. I'd love to hear what you guys would like me to do with this space. If you had a big cube of space and you could do anything in Modsauce in it, what would you put in there? Alright, that's quite enough rambling for me. I'm going to go ahead and go over to... Wait for it. No, really, wait for it. Still waiting for it. The Twilight Forest. Okay. Wow, that took a long time to load. We are going to come over here and gather some materials. I think what I want to do is have a bunch of resources from different dimensions, and I want to make it look like some of these dimensions are visible in those other areas. So maybe we'll use a bunch of the Twilight Forest materials to make one of those big chambers look like it's kind of overgrown from the Twilight Forest. So one of the things we're going to want to do for that is find our lumber axe and get a couple of these big trees down. That's not the bag I wanted. Maybe it's this bag. Yeah. And not the one that auto smelts things. I don't want a bunch of charcoal. There we go. That'll do us pretty nicely. We actually probably have enough room to grow a few of these trees as well, but we're just going to chop a couple down with this lumber axe and call it good for now. It's raining logs. That seems like it should be very dangerous. Yeah, let's see how destructive we can be. Nobody else is on the server. Worst case scenario, I'll end up cutting this footage out. Oh, that's right. It actually only takes a big chunk if the tree is too big. So we're going to try this a little bit, see if we can get... Oh, there it goes. There it goes. Alright. So now we're going to have way more wood than we can possibly use. Let's go ahead and open up the community network box. Throw some of that in there. There it goes. Yep. All of that in there. Okay, great. So keep all of that stuff. Don't throw the axe into the community network. Now we've got plenty of wood from the Twilight Forest. Let's get a few other random materials here. Well, that's an interesting ravine. I like this stuff, but I don't really want to mess with it too much. I know we've got all this Naga stone and stone bricks and things. This is where Nagas can spawn. I'm pretty sure we've killed the one that spawns in here already. We could actually do something like this with the floor. We could put in some grass and some stone slabs. There's nothing stopping us from making the floor a little taller in any of those levels and giving us a little more room to work with. Maybe we ought to get a few mushrooms too while we're here. That's probably a nice touch. That looks about right. So we'll grab... Well, that's really interesting. I don't think I've ever seen one quite like that before. Let's start on the top and just kind of work our way down. With these imbued tools, it will not take long at all. And with Silk Touch, I think I'm still just getting the mushroom blocks, so I'm not going to be able to replicate that quite as easily as I would have hoped. I might actually have to grow a couple of these. Again, it's dark enough down there, it should not be hard to grow some mushrooms. So we will consider doing that as well. Maybe on the very bottom level we'll do that, make it look like a big mushroom cave. That could be pretty cool. So one thing I'm also interested in is, for those of you that do play Modsauce or have played with these mods in a different pack, what do you guys like to use for lighting? I've been really fond of glowstone strips lately. It makes it so you can have pretty good lighting from a very hidden space. You don't have to have big old solid glowstone blocks anywhere. I know I've seen a few people that have played with the liquid glowstone. That scares me a little bit, just because if we ever break a block and it starts flowing up towards the ceiling, we could be ending up with a big puddle of liquid glowstone at the sky limit and not really have any way to get to it, interact with it. I suppose we could still consider that. Interesting, with Silk Touch this time we actually got all the different pieces, it looks like. So there's solid red, red on the top, red on one side. Huh. Yeah, and it actually counts as different kinds of blocks too. Very interesting. So we'll have to play around with that. Maybe we can just reconstruct one of those without having to grow a mushroom. Let's put this guy back. Actually, let's leave him out. He's got auto repair from moss and he's pretty damaged, so we'll leave him there to recharge. I'm going to do a couple more things like this. I think I'm also going to go over to the Nether and maybe the End and grab some materials over there as well. I know I was just in the Nether. I might actually have to just check. We probably have a fair amount of netherrack already in the network. That is quite enough rambling. So we're going to end the episode a little bit early. I know I did mention that we're going to do some recording this weekend. I hope that it all works out. I haven't done any recording with another YouTuber before, so this is going to be a new experience for me. Making sure that everything gets set up correctly for Skype so that we can hear each other in the recordings, all that sort of thing. Zeotech and I are going to be trying out some mini games. Maybe we'll have some of the other folks that play here that don't do YouTube join us as well, just so it's a little bit more interesting. Hopefully I can get that footage out to you this weekend. It'll be kind of a bonus episode to see if that's something else that you guys enjoy. We have the vanilla server coming over Christmas. If you want to be a part of that, please go to the forums and apply to join the forums, and then once you get in the forums, go ahead and put an application in on the application thread to get whitelisted on the server. It is a realm server, so that means from time to time we will pause the world and do some mini games there. We're planning to do some UHC at some point. We might try the bingo game that I've seen in the past. There's some other things that we're going to do. Anything you can do with just vanilla and command blocks, we will probably try out on that server at some point. So if that sounds like something that you're interested in, please let me know in the comments. If you have any other ideas, suggestions, feedbacks, leave that as well. If you liked this video, please do hit that like button. If you really liked it, then please subscribe. And as always, I've been Brickwaffle. Thank you for watching.